Imagine a world without benchmarks, where financial markets were chaotic arenas of speculation, driven by whispers and guesswork. There was no way to measure the economy's pulse, no reliable tools to track market trends, and no systematic approach to investing. This was the world of the late 19th century, a time of explosive industrial growth but limited financial insight. Yet, amidst this turbulence emerged a man whose ideas would bring order to chaos and forever alter how we view the economy. His name was Charles Dow. Today, we will explore the life, innovations, and enduring legacy of the man who gave us the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the foundation of technical analysis, a legacy that continues to guide global finance. To understand how profound his impact was on global finance, let's a bit go back to a time before Charles Dow's influence. The late 1800s was a period of rapid transformation. The United States was becoming an industrial powerhouse. Railroads spanned the nation, factories churned out goods at an unprecedented pace, and the stock market was a growing hub of activity. Fortunes were made overnight, but they were just as easily lost. Financial markets at the time were more like the Wild West than the structured systems we know today. Investors operated in a fog of uncertainty. Information about companies was inconsistent, delayed, or outright manipulated. Speculators relied on intuition, gossip, and incomplete data to make decisions, often resulting in catastrophic losses. Financial journalism was in its infancy. While newspapers reported on market activity, their coverage was often sensationalized, focusing more on drama than useful analysis. There was no agreed-upon standard to measure the market's overall health or understand its movements. It was into this disorganized world that Charles Dow would step, armed with a journalist's curiosity and a determination to bring clarity to the chaos. The early life of Charles Dow. Charles Henry Dow was born on November 6, 1851, in Sterling, Connecticut, a small, unremarkable town in rural New England. His childhood was far from idyllic. When Dow was just 6 years old, his father passed away, leaving his family to face financial struggles. Despite these hardships, young Charles displayed an inquisitive mind and a thirst for knowledge. Without formal higher education, Dow began working at a local newspaper in his late teens. His first jobs had nothing to do with finance. He wrote about everyday events and local stories. However, this experience honed his ability to observe, analyze, and communicate clearly, skills that would serve him well in his future career. In the late 1870s, Dow began reporting on mining companies and industrial enterprises. He had a keen eye for detail and an innate ability to explain complex topics in simple terms. This knack for simplifying the intricate world of finance caught the attention of his editors and laid the foundation for his groundbreaking contributions. The birth of Dow Jones. In 1879, Dow moved to New York City, then the financial capital of America, and began working at Kiernan's news agency, where he covered Wall Street. This experience exposed him to the inner workings of the stock market and the challenges investors faced in accessing reliable information. Dow quickly recognized a gap in the market. There was no straightforward, unbiased source of financial news. In 1882, he teamed up with Edward Jones and Charles Bergstresser, two like-minded journalists, to form Dow Jones & Company. Their goal was simple but ambitious: to provide accurate, accessible financial information to the public. Their first publication, a 2-page afternoon bulletin called the Customer's Afternoon Letter, was hand-delivered to subscribers. This modest newsletter would eventually evolve into the Wall Street Journal, one of the most influential financial publications in the world. Dow was not just a reporter, he was a thinker and a pioneer. As he analyzed stock market trends for his bulletins, he began to see patterns, rhythms in the market that reflected broader economic changes. This observation would lead to his most significant innovation: the creation of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. In 1896, Charles Dow introduced the Dow Jones Industrial Average, DJIA, a simple yet revolutionary concept. Initially composed of 12 industrial companies, including giants like General Electric, the DJIA was designed to provide a snapshot of the stock market's overall health. But the DJIA was more than just a list of stock prices. It was an idea, a way to measure the economy's pulse through the performance of its most prominent companies. By averaging their stock prices, Dow created a single number that could convey complex market trends in an easily digestible format. At first, the DJIA was met with skepticism. Critics questioned its relevance and dismissed it as overly simplistic. But over time, its value became undeniable. Investors began to rely on the DJIA to understand market trends, and it quickly became a barometer not just for the industrial sector but for the entire economy. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is one of the most recognized stock indices in the world, a testament to Dow's vision and ingenuity. Dow Theory, the blueprint for market analysis. While the DJIA was groundbreaking, Dow's most profound contribution to finance was his theory of market behavior, now known as Dow Theory. This set of principles, developed through his market observations, provided a systematic way to analyze stock trends and predict their future direction. The Dow Theory is built on several key ideas which include: the market reflects everything. Dow believed that all available information, political events, economic data, and investor sentiment was already factored into stock prices. This principle laid the foundation for modern efficient market theory. Markets move in trends. Dow observed that markets don't move randomly. Instead, they follow identifiable trends, upward trends, bull markets, downward trends, bear markets, and periods of consolidation. Trends must be confirmed. Dow argued that a single market index was not enough to confirm a trend. For example, an upward trend in the DJIA should be mirrored by the Dow Jones Transportation Average, reflecting the interdependence of industrial production and transportation. These principles, though developed over a century ago, remain relevant today. Traders and investors around the world continue to use Dow Theory as a foundation for technical analysis. The challenges and triumphs. Despite his groundbreaking work, Charles Dow faced challenges. Many of his ideas were met with resistance, and his methodologies were often misunderstood. But Dow remained steadfast in his belief that markets could be understood, analyzed, and explained. Tragically, Dow passed away in 1902 at the age of 51, before he could see the full impact of his work. Yet his ideas endured, carried forward by his successors and embraced by generations of investors. Legacy and influence on modern finance. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and Dow Theory are cornerstones of global finance. The DJIA is not just a tool for investors, it's a cultural icon, a number that news anchors, policymakers, and everyday citizens look to as a measure of economic health. Beyond the numbers, Dow's commitment to transparency and clarity in financial journalism set a standard that continues to influence the industry. His work reminds us that even the most complex systems can be understood with curiosity and a desire for clarity. Charles Dow's legacy is one of vision, persistence, and innovation. He saw patterns where others saw chaos, and created tools that brought order to the financial world. His work not only transformed markets but also empowered people to understand and participate in the economy. As we navigate today's complex financial landscape, we owe a debt of gratitude to this unassuming journalist from Connecticut, a man who taught the world to measure its wealth and, in doing so, changed it forever. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.